Hi, everyone. Thank you for showing up. This is the second installment of the happiness webinar series. This one is titled Quit Giving Your Happiness Away. This is a really important topic. Before we go into that, I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Becky Howell. I am the Holistic Success Coach as well as happiness expert. I facilitate and run retreats and workshops around the world, inspiring emotional healing and wellness, as well as inner strength. I've been finding that's going to be really crucial to being able to move on with your wellness journey and happiness journey. I have also authored my happiness book, and soon-to-be workbook is the first in a series of DIY resources for people. So let's get started. If you pop on and you have any questions, go ahead and drop them down in the chat box. What I wanted to cover today is I want to talk a little bit about modern archetypes and how they're going to be affecting your happiness. I want to talk about how they keep us stuck and limited and, feeling squished down. I also wanted to go over why we tend to give our emotional power away. And this is big, guys. Like, I have found that there's 4 common antithesis or opposite emotions of happiness, and why we tend to go into those instead of staying at a higher level. And then I also am going to be weaving in some techniques for how to help yourself and how to stay happy. So it's going to be archetypes and why and how we get out of it woven through, so that I want to keep this interesting and engaging for you. So if you have any questions, definitely just pop them in, and if it fits, I'll try and answer them during. If it doesn't, I'll wait until the end. So what some of you know is that I've been conducting where I'm over 100 now, interviews on the phone from around the world. And I'm trying to unlock the secret of why we aren't automatically happy, why we are struggling to get happy. So one of the big things I discovered is that there's several modern archetypes that is becoming very common, and we can obviously have more than one archetype at a time. So you can have multiple archetypes layered up and keeping you stuck and unhappy. So there's 2 really, really common ones that I want to talk about today. If you want to hear more about the others, definitely feel free to email me, message me, and we can have a little discussion about it. Understanding these archetypes is going to be huge for you understanding why you're having a hard time being happy. So let me back up and explain a little bit about archetypes, because I realize not everyone is going to be totally obsessed with how archetypes work like I am. So how this works is, if you have a pattern of thinking or a pattern of emotion, then you kind of feed back in on that. And then that pattern of thought or emotion will actually lead to actions. And so those actions will actually feed back into that pattern of thought and emotion. So it becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy, and it has its own momentum. And this can be good and you get higher and higher, or it can be bad and you get lower and lower. Generally, you're not staying the same. The changes can be incremental, but you're going to go up or you're going to go down, because organic bodies don't stay in static. They don't stay in stasis. There's always something that's going to be changing. So when enough people are locked into that pattern of behavior fed by thoughts and emotions, then that becomes an archetype. So simply and paraphrased, that's what you need to know. So one of the most common archetypes I found in those happiness interviews, as well as talking to my other clients, is that of the waiter. Now, what's kind of funny is I just did this workshop in person at Common Ground Food Co-op. And so we're surrounded by all these yummy food items. And so everybody's thought immediately went to like a restaurant waiter or a restaurant server. And it was kind of funny because I'm talking about this waiter as an archetype, and I just see these confused faces. And finally we understood where we weren't talking at the same level. So no, I mean someone who's waiting. And so this is important, and this comes in like, are you waiting to be happy for something? Now, this can be either a tangible outside circumstance to be met or an intangible inside circumstance to be met. So for examples, are you waiting to make a goal? Are you waiting for a better job? Are you waiting for a bigger house? Are you waiting for your family to be healthy and happy? Are you waiting for the world's chaos to just settle down so that you can get a breath? Like, is that what you're waiting for? Are you waiting for the whales to be saved? Are you waiting for vacation? What are you waiting for before you become happy? Like you literally will have these thoughts sometimes. It's like, oh, I can't even deal with that right now. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to focus on this, and that's it. I can't deal with that right now. That's too much. And so you actually will make that as a choice, and you will put happiness later because you're waiting to do that. So it can also be intangibles or internal conditions that you're waiting on. So you'll be happy when you're loved. You'll be happy when you feel appreciated. You'll be happy when you have the body that you think you want. You'll be happy when you can be happy with yourself. That is really, really common. Like, if you aren't happy with yourself, if you don't accept yourself, forgive yourself, or love yourself, it is very difficult to allow yourself to be happy. In fact, yeah, I would say very difficult. So this all kind of feeds in together with happiness. And so actually the next series on these DIYs is self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and self-love. And you need those to be happy. And you can work on them congruently. You know, you can work on this, and they come together and your phases go up. But those are things that you need to be aware of. You know, are you saying, well, I'll be happy when I'm 20 pounds lighter? You know, because then I can wear these different clothes and I can do these different activities and I can relate to people differently. You know, that was definitely part of my journey. You know, how am I supposed to show up as someone who helps others become well and inspire healing when it looks like I enjoy cake? Because I do. So I was waiting to show up. I was waiting for part of my happiness to live in my purpose until I thought I had the body that I needed. Isn't that fascinating? So the problem with this archetype is that you can actually end up waiting to be happy forever, your whole life. There was a really interesting sweet lady in Scotland that I talked to about doing these interviews. And with her story was she ended up being a caretaker for most of her life. So she had lots of little brothers and sisters in a dysfunctional family, and she ended up taking care of them. And then she got them out of the house, and then her mom ended up at her house, and she ended up taking care of her, and then she died. And then she ended up taking care of her father, and he died. And then she ended up taking care of her brother, who was in a car accident. And so she has spent 40 years being a caretaker for other people. And so she kept saying, I was waiting for my own life to be happy. I was waiting for my life to start to be happy. And she said, eventually I realized that I could be waiting until I died to be happy, that I needed to start that now. And it's like, whoa. Yeah, I can definitely see similarities I remember at different points in my life, I would be waiting to have the life that I wanted before I was going to be happy. Like, how can I be happy with this? This isn't what I want. This isn't the life that I wanted. And so you just get down, depressed, miserable, sad, angry. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So look at your life. Is there a place that you are waiting to be happy? Are you putting happiness later because you are waiting for some circumstance to be met? How is that serving you? And I want you to think about that.